Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. What is next in uh, privacy in 2025? My name is Mia Tolosic, and I'm the head of business development and Legit. And it's great to have you all here with us today. I'm joined by our CEO and co-founder, Marian Brcic, who will share his expertise later in the session. But before we will get there, I'll walk you through why data privacy is more relevant now than ever, the challenges the organizations face, and the opportunities that lie ahead. Because data privacy is no longer just about compliance, it's about building trust, it's about fostering innovation and driving sustainable growth in the ever changing digital world that we live in today. Organizations of all sizes, so small and large, are grappling with how to protect sensitive information, meet growing privacy expectations from the end clients, and adapt to increasingly complex regulatory landscape. So the key question is, how do we adapt? How do we stay ahead? So let's dive right in. So here is what we will be covering today. A little bit about why data privacy matters. And then Marian will dive into the key data privacy trends in 2025, responsible AI and agentic AI, which is a topic we cannot escape these days, some practical tools and best practices. And finally, we will have time for Q&A and the next steps, so we can answer any questions that you have and discuss if any specific topics that you wish to discuss. A little bit about who we are at Legit. So, at Legit, we believe data privacy is not just about meeting regulatory requirements, it's about creating opportunities to build trust and drive growth. Over the years, we've partnered with more than 200 organizations across 40 different countries, and we're helping them to transform compliance challenges into strategic advantages. We have been recognized as industry leader by some top analysts like Gartner, Forrester, and Spark Matrix, which reflects the effectiveness of what we do. But what really set us apart is our commitment to making data privacy manageable, actionable, and aligned with your business practices. By turning data privacy into competitive advantage, we help to empower organizations to thrive in an increasingly privacy conscious world. A little bit about our clients. So, as mentioned, our mission is very simple. It is to simplify privacy management and ensure compliance with local and global regulations, from GDPR to CCPA, PDPL, NDMO, and beyond. But our vision goes beyond compliance, because we truly believe that privacy is more than meeting regulatory requirements, because it is about the trust, because trust drives all business relationships. So we've helped a number of different organizations across all different industries where trust is paramount. So if you start with financial sector to healthcare, where protecting sensitive patient data is not just a legal mandate, it is a moral responsibility. So all across different industries, from e-commerce, hospitality, media, and more, our solutions provide the tools to help you turn privacy challenges into opportunities. So, in today's world, which is really a digital world, data privacy has become a business imperative. Organizations face very complex challenges, from complying with ever evolving regulations to meeting the global expectations of privacy-conscious customers. Stakes are much higher now than ever. So if we consider social media giant that's been fined about 1.2 billion, that's just one example of how non-compliance can have very far-reaching financial and reputational consequences. In fact, privacy fines in Europe alone have reached nearly 5.6 billion as of end of December last year. So this really underscores the critical need for very proactive privacy management. But it's not just about avoiding penalties, because strong data privacy practices, they build trust, they foster collaboration, and they drive long-term growth. So before we move on to the next part of the webinar, I am thrilled to introduce my colleague, Marian. Marian has over 15 years of experience in data management and data protection. He's not only a pioneer in privacy automation, but also a leading voice in application of AI to data privacy, which is a very hot topic these days. So he's also a creator of our cutting-edge platform, Data Privacy Manager. And Marian has been at the forefront of leveraging AI to simplify and scale privacy management. His abilities to connect technical innovation and real-world challenges has helped many organizations to navigate the complexities of compliance and privacy at scale. So with that, I will hand over to Marian. Thank you.
Thank you, Mia, for this wonderful introduction, and welcome everyone again to our webinar. So let me just share my screen, and I hope I can live up to this beautiful introduction. All right. So first of all, thank you again very much for joining our webinar. And next, I'll cover global tech trends, including agentic AI, new and evolving regulations like India's draft DPDP, which is very hot these days, and also why privacy professionals remain critical to responsible innovation. I will explore global technology trends, key data privacy regulations, continuous third-party risk management, best practices for compliance, and the role of privacy in AI. Throughout the session today, I encourage you to make the most of the Q&A feature. It's a great way to engage with us, as always, and I'll be dedicating last 5 to 10 minutes to answering your questions. So please feel free to share your thoughts and questions as we go along. Additionally, to make this session more interactive and to hear from you, Maya will be rolling out a poll with a few questions any moment now. Please take a minute to answer the questions, as it really helps us when we hear from you. All right. So let's explore some of the major technology trends shaping our future before we dive into privacy-specific trends, as this is very relevant. According to recent Gartner predictions, we'll see an expansion of hyper-automation, cybersecurity mesh, advanced analytics as always, and the growing emphasis on something called agentic AI. So what exactly is agentic AI? Unlike traditional AI assistants or chatbots that only respond to user prompts, just following a scripted workflow or waiting for instructions, agentic AIs can proactively figure out what steps to take, which tools to use, and how to achieve the desired outcome. So here are some key stats that highlight where this is headed. By 2028, 33% of enterprise software applications will include some level of agentic AI, up from less than 1% today. By that same year, agentic AI machine customers will handle 20% of the interactions at digital storefronts, completely transforming e-commerce as we know it today. And we'll also see that 15% of day-to-day work decisions in many organizations could be made autonomously by these AI agents by 2028, whereas today it's essentially 0%. And this shift promises a new wave of productivity and innovation. And just imagine AI researching data, scheduling tasks, or even executing financial transactions with minimal human intervention. Of course, this also raises serious questions about data privacy, ethics, and security. Agentic AI systems often have the power to learn continuously, adapt in real time, and interact with external services, potentially opening up new risks if not properly governed. That's why it's crucial to approach agentic AI with robust guardrails. Organizations must integrate strong privacy protections, transparent data usage policies, and continuous monitoring to ensure these AI agents act within the bounds of user intent, ethical standards, and regulatory requirements. Ultimately, agentic AI can be a major catalyst for digital transformation, more than ever before, or any technology before this, but it also magnifies the importance of having a solid privacy framework in place. So let's explore these intersections throughout today's session, looking at how to manage the compliance, security, and trust challenges that come with any advanced AI implementation. As we look ahead to 2025, data privacy remains at the forefront of both regulatory discussions and business strategies. The rapid rise of AI, evolving consumer expectations, and a patchwork of new laws across the globe have placed privacy in the spotlight like never before. In this section, I'll explore the key trends shaping data privacy in 2025. I'll unpack the expanding global regulatory landscape, the technologies emerging to safeguard personal information, the shifting mindset of consumers who increasingly value transparency, the ongoing complexities of cross-border data transfers, the uptick in enforcement actions, and finally, the convergence of multiple EU regulations that driving stricter third-party risk management. I think understanding these trends isn't just about being or staying compliant, it's about building trust, fostering innovation responsibly, and maintaining a competitive edge in a privacy-first world. And I always remember where we are back in 2016-17, grasping how companies will handle records of processing activities with GDPR. This has become much more complex, and things are really changing very fast for us who are in the privacy business. Because of the time limitation I have, I had to select our top picks. Even though I could be talking about more than 6 trends, today here's what I'll be covering. So first, global regulatory alignment and complexity, then privacy enhancing technologies or PETs, consumer trust and transparency, cross-border data transfer and localization, growing enforcement and litigation as we see it today, and also third-party risk management in the light of convergence of GDPR, NIS2, and DORA in European Union. So first, let's talk about global regulatory alignment and just how complicated this has become. We are seeing new or revised privacy laws popping up in various regions. The EU continues to refine GDPR, while the US is adding new state-level regulations like CPRA. In APEC jurisdictions like China, PIPL, and Japan's APPI, they are becoming increasingly rigorous. We have seen the KSA's PDPL also become enforced in September. And although each law aims to protect personal data, they often differ on specifics like consent, breach notification timelines, and data localization requirements. So this evolving patchwork means that you and your organizations need continuous vigilance and flexible compliance frameworks to track multiple jurisdictions. If you are operating across borders, you can't rely on a single approach. Instead, you need to You need an adaptable strategy that addresses overlapping mandates, ensuring data transfer compliance, and remain agile to accommodate the next regulatory change. In short, global regulatory complexity isn't slowing down, if anything, it's accelerating. Keeping pace requires a proactive rather than reactive privacy posture. Next, let's dive into privacy enhancing technologies commonly referred to as PETs. These tools and methods like differential privacy, like secure multi-party computation and homomorphic encryption are transforming how organizations handle sensitive data. PETs allow you to glean insights from data without exposing the raw personal information. For example, differential privacy techniques can mask individuals' records in a dataset while still providing accurate aggregate analytics. This helps meet regulatory demands for data minimization and anonymization while preserving the utility of the data for the innovation. As privacy regulations get stricter, PETs can serve as a proactive way to embed security and compliance into data processing pipelines. They are not a silver bullet, nothing is. Implementing them requires the right infrastructure and expertise and time as well, but they are quickly becoming a must-have in the evolving privacy toolbox. Consumer awareness about data privacy has never been higher. High-profile breaches, stories about data misuse, and emerging regulations have made people more conscious of how their data is collected, shared, and stored. In 2025, meeting consumer expectations for privacy means demonstrating transparency and accountability. Whether it's clear cookie banners, simplified privacy policies, or even no cookie policies, real-time dashboards showing what data you collect, trust hinges on how open you are with users. More and more, privacy and user experience are interconnected. The companies that respect consumer autonomy by offering granular consent options and easy opt-outs are winning brand loyalty and differentiating themselves in the marketplace. So really, privacy is becoming a differentiator today. Building a culture of trust isn't just the ethical thing to do, it's a competitive advantage. Now, let's turn to cross-border data transfers and localization rules. This is one of the toughest privacy challenges today and in the last couple of last years because laws vary so widely. Think of the GDPR, which restricts data exports unless adequate protection is guaranteed, or China's PIPL, which imposes tight restrictions on sending data abroad. Some countries demand full or partial data localizations, meaning that data on local residents must be stored within national borders. That can complicate cloud deployments, backup strategies, and operational workflows for multinational companies. To handle cross-border data transfer issues, organizations often rely on mechanisms like standard contractual clauses or binding corporate rules, but the legal landscape is evolving, everything is changing. So for instance, the invalidation of the EU-US Privacy Shield back in the days has compelled companies to seek alternative solutions. In 2025 and beyond, expect more scrutiny and potential legal challenges around data transfers, making it essential to track legislative changes and update compliance measures regularly. Another trend is the increase in both regulatory enforcement and private litigation. Regulators have become bolder in imposing larger fines and stricter penalties for non-compliance. We've seen record-breaking GDPR fines in the EU and in the US. We see the Federal Trade Commission and State Attorney General are stepping up their game as well. Beyond government bodies, we are seeing a rise in class action lawsuits and individual claims related to data breaches, unauthorized data sharing, and misuse of personal information. public awareness of personal data rights has led to a surge in complaints. This highlighted enforcement, and this environment stresses the importance of demonstrable compliance, as we have always tried to help our customer be able to demonstrate their compliance. This has become crucial today, and it's not enough to have policies on paper, or as we call this, paper-based compliance. You need verifiable, auditable processes and robust incident response plans. If you lack this, you risk not just financial penalties, but also severe reputational damage. And finally, when we speak about the emerging data privacy trends for this year, let's address third-party risk management and the growing overlap in EU, and we expect this to be a global issue as well. The overlap of GDPR with cybersecurity-focused regulations like NIS2, the EU's Directive on Security of Network and Information Systems, and DORA, the Digital Operational Resilience Act for Financial Services. So, who here is using third-party service providers? Probably everyone, because most organizations rely on vendors, suppliers, or partners to handle data or facilitate operations. And a lot of companies, if they haven't already, are either doing it or planning to migrate their business operations and data in the cloud. If one of these third parties, like the vendors and suppliers, experiences a breach or fails to maintain proper controls, you can be on the hook for compliance failures and face operational disruptions. GDPR mandates data protection. NIS2 requires robust cybersecurity for critical infrastructure, and DORA enforces digital resilience in the financial sector. When you combine these regulations, there's a common message. Continuous monitoring of your entire supply chain is not optional. You must ensure vendors meet the same high standards that you do, with real-time visibility into their practices. And there has recently been a guideline and opinion related to, for example, monitoring and keeping track of the data protection measures, not of your processors, but also of the sub-processors and sub-processors. So really, it's your responsibility to keep track and continuously monitor your entire supply chain. I would say that, in short, third-party risk management is quickly evolving into a continuous proactive process. Whether you are dealing with data handlers, cloud providers, or operational service partners, it's critical to establish formal and continuous vendor assessment procedures, require contractual safeguards, and stay informed of emerging threats across your ecosystem. And I can't not talk about the rise of AI, as it is shaping everything, including privacy trends, big time. And as it seems, privacy professionals will play a major role in securing ethical and legit AI practices in the future. So, in the next 5 minutes, I'll try to cover these 5 topics, highlighting why privacy professionals are vital to responsible AI development. So, I'll be talking about AI and that AI is everywhere, highlighting the healthcare, financial sector, and public services, the boom of technologies in the scope of generative AI. So anything that we deem AI but is able to generate completely new content. How this is also relevant to privacy professionals. And then the rising regulatory scrutiny and the new EU AI Act. the role of privacy professionals in responsible AI, and why, in the end, why privacy professionals are the future of responsible AI. So, artificial intelligence is now woven into nearly every facet of our daily lives, far beyond the realms of tech giants. From predictive diagnostics in healthcare to instant loan approvals in finance to dynamic traffic management in smart cities, AI is driving efficiency and innovation at an really unprecedented scale. Um, in 2025, we are expecting an even wider adoption of AI across industries, especially in areas like healthcare and finance, where the potential impact of human well-being and safety is massive. But this growth also means that personal and sensitive data is being collected, processed, and analyzed in ways we haven't seen before. And that's where the conversation around data privacy and ethical AI truly begins. And always when I do the trainings about AI and the AI Act, I always highlight that the cycle of AI development has shifted, and probably 90% of work today is around collecting, cleaning up and processing data, creating training data sets and testing data sets. So 90% of work is really about data, and it's all about how much data you can collect and how much you can trust the data. So when I speak about the boom, the generative AI boom, uh, the generative AI has taken center stage in the past couple of years. Everybody knows it. Everyone, and not just the people in tech. And it has enabled models to create everything from text, images, and videos to business strategies and code. And this technology powers chatbots that can write entire articles, design prototypes, and analyze massive data sets in seconds. While this presents endless possibilities for innovation, which will happen, it also raises questions about data usage, potential bias, and intellectual property rights. Because generative models often rely on massive data sets, often containing personal or copyrighted material. And privacy professionals must ensure these systems respect ethical and legal boundaries. As the technology advances, and it's really advancing very fast, so does the need to protect individuals' information and maintain transparency around how AI outputs are delivered. With this explosive growth comes increased scrutiny from regulators worldwide. We are seeing new or proposed legislation like the EU's AI Act, which aims to categorize AI applications based on risk levels and enforce rigorous compliance for systems deemed high risk. And also it has prescribed what are forbidden practices in EU. It has also given a good definition of AI, one of the most important things I think that the AI Act has given us. In the US, multiple states are introducing AI-specific regulations. Meanwhile, governments in APAC are also tightening rules to address the ethical and societal implications of AI, whether it's restricting certain uses of biometric data or mandating transparency about AI decision-making. Regulatory bodies are getting serious about accountability. And this means any organization deploying AI, particularly in sensitive areas, must stay ahead of evolving laws and demonstrate not just performance, but responsibility. So where do privacy professionals fit into this rapidly shifting landscape? In one word, everywhere. From the earliest phases of data collection and AI model design to the final product deployment and monitoring, privacy experts help ensure compliance, ethical data handling, and user trust. AI systems often rely on personal data to train algorithms, optimize services, and generate insights. Without careful oversight, there's a real risk of inadvertently violating privacy laws, introducing biases, or exposing sensitive data. Privacy professionals are the people who bridge the gap between tech teams, legal requirements, and business objectives, ensuring that AI developments align with both the letter and spirit of the law. And as we are seeing AI become more and more autonomous, and now think agentic AI capable of planning and acting on its own, the need for robust privacy frameworks grows exponentially. Privacy pros aren't just gatekeepers who say no to innovation, and they shouldn't just say no. They should be vital partners in designing AI solutions that are both powerful and trustworthy. And this includes embedding privacy by design principles, implementing secure data practices, and championing user-centric controls like consent, transparency, and data minimization. So organizations that place privacy professionals at the heart of their AI strategies will be better positioned to navigate complex regulatory environments, maintain customer and public trust, and harness AI's full potential responsibly. And ultimately, privacy pros are shaping the future of responsible AI because they ensure that ethical considerations and regulatory obligations are baked into every step of development and deployment. The result, we get all the benefits of AI innovation without losing sight of the people, data, and values we aim to protect. And why I believe the trends will not be just around uncontrolled innovation when it comes to the uptick of AI technologies, but will also be around ethical and responsible AI, is because if you ask people, and I'm not talking about technology experts, I mean like general public, there is a certain fear and distrust in the AI technologies. And this is, I think, the main reason why there will be investments in ethical and trustworthy AI and building frameworks around controlling it and actually being compliant with the requirements of this upcoming AI regulatory landscape as well. So what I think the actionable takeaways are: companies must integrate privacy teams in AI initiatives from the earliest stages, meaning from the data collection phase. Privacy professionals should pursue certifications to bolster professional credentials and to build knowledge. And companies should facilitate cross-functional collaboration, meaning including both the AI people, the legal and compliance roles in the teams. So when we speak about the regulatory landscape and shifting regulations, as we are a company that is a software vendor that works in, I think, more than 45 countries at this point, on 4 continents, we have seen this rise of different laws and different regulations and the differences between them. And we really see this complexity, and the data privacy landscape is constantly evolving. And of course, it's very difficult to keep track of everything. The good thing about it is that the privacy principles, like the main privacy principles. And now I will speak later about the frameworks and certification mechanisms. But it's always good to have globally recognized framework as it defines the privacy principles, and more or less all of the privacy regulations globally are in line with the main privacy principles. So as the landscape is constantly evolving, we are seeing the updates and the new laws and regulations emerging around the globe. When we speak about the EU, it continues to refine GDPR and is introducing measures like the AI Act, while in the US, laws such as CPRA and today various state-level privacy statutes are layering and building on the complexity. And we are not expecting the federal law to come in place, to be enforced anytime soon. And now with the Trump administration, I haven't seen this. I don't believe it's going to be here so fast. And in the APEC and beyond APEC, we have seen the more stricter cross-border data flows and robust data security obligations. And meanwhile, and this is hot now because this is very fresh. India's draft Digital Personal Data Protection, or DPDP, rules are poised to significantly impact how global organizations manage personal data for Indian citizens. And keeping pace with the shifting regulations means proactively monitoring the changes, adapting compliance frameworks to meet varying international requirements, and collaborating across legal, IT, and privacy teams. And beyond these, which are on the slide, as we are working closely with companies in the Middle East, we are also seeing the Personal Data Protection Law, or the KSA PDPL in Saudi Arabia, which sets out stringent obligations for data controllers and processors handling Saudi citizens' data. And for you and your companies, by staying ahead of these shifting regulations, you not only mitigate legal and financial risks, you also reinforce trust with consumers and stakeholders in every market you serve. And just to remind you on what I said previously, more or less privacy principles remain the same across all of these geographies, but you need to take into account the smaller or larger differences between these laws. And the question, of course, is how to overcome compliance challenges. And when it comes to staying compliant, organizations often face multiple hurdles. So we have the overlap of regulations from GDPR to NIS to DORA in EU, and then India's DPDP and Saudi Arabia's PDPL and many more. Managing each rule in isolation is overwhelming and prone to errors. And when we speak about the agentic AI and rise of AI in general, as AI systems become more autonomous, the potential for unauthorized data collection or misuse grows, requiring tighter oversight. The third-party vulnerabilities, with vendors and partners often handling critical data, and any weak link in the supply chain can turn into a major compliance headache. And of course, as always, budget constraints, with many organizations feeling, and especially privacy professionals feeling, that they lack the resources to build and maintain robust privacy programs. So how do you navigate these challenges effectively? First of all, adopting privacy by design. That means embedding compliance checks from the earliest stages of product development and vendor selection. And this proactive approach saves times, reduces risks, and builds trust from the ground up. This means that you need to have an ongoing and robust privacy program management, and being able to continuously monitor what you do when it comes to privacy practices, when it comes to collecting data for AI technology building, and also by continuously assessing third parties. And then the second thing is leveraging automation. And today, there really are software and technologies that can help you with this. Now, I always speak from our angle as a software vendor with Data Privacy Manager. We have more than 200 enterprise customers when we can help with things such as automating data discovery using artificial intelligence to automatically find and classify personal data, and then automating data subject request processing, automating and building end-to-end automation when it comes to consent management, consent collection, controlling how you process data based on the current status of consent, and data mapping, and also now very important third-party monitoring, keeping track of the contracts, of the protection measures, of doing continuous assessment in line with different cybersecurity and data protection regulation, and also, very importantly, being in line with the data minimization principle and automating data removal, such as anonymization or deletion of personal data. And then also very important cross-functional training. By providing regular tailored training on region-specific regulations, by equipping your teams with the right knowledge, you minimize missteps and ensure everyone speaks the same privacy language. And by implementing these practices and using a comprehensive data privacy management solution, that can significantly streamline compliance. Once you automate repetitive tasks, embed privacy by design, and bring everyone up to speed on the latest rules, you turn privacy from a reactive burden into a proactive advantage. And finally, before moving to the Q&A session, I would just like to mention 5 things that fall into a category of practical tools and strategies for privacy first practices. So the first one is privacy management software. Think of this as your one-stop shop for all things privacy. It helps you track every privacy related process, from handling data subject requests to managing breach notification. And it automates, or should automate, many of these tasks. By centralizing everything in one dashboard, you will reduce manual workloads and ensure that no detail slips through the cracks. The second one is the third-party management software. Now, third parties, as I said previously, third-party vendors can be a serious blind spot if not carefully managed. A dedicated third-party management tool gives you continuous risk assessment capabilities, contract management oversight, and real-time visibility into your supply chain, of course, from compliance, data protection, and cybersecurity viewpoint. And what this ensures is that even the partners who touch your data uphold the same high standards as you do. And then there is data discovery and classification. It should be a backbone and a baseline for building any privacy program. And I mean by understanding where personal data is stored and how sensitive it is, forms the backbone of your privacy program. Accurate data discovery and classification allows you to apply the right safeguards, retention policies, and access controls. Especially important if you are working with AI models or multiple vendor relationships. And we also see PETs, privacy enhancing technologies and automated data removal, as a category that is very important, and things like differential privacy, like secure multi-party computation, and tools for automating data removal. They maximize the value of your data without exposing raw personal information, also minimizing privacy compliance risks. And by proactively removing and anonymizing data that are no longer needed, so once you lose business and legal justification for processing, you also lower your compliance risk while demonstrating respect for user privacy. And also very important, all of these things should be backed by globally recognized and robust privacy frameworks. What also helps is certifications. Wherever there are certification mechanisms in place, either by consulting companies or vendors such as us, or internationally international standards. I think on top of the technical solutions, adopting these frameworks, like I have mentioned here, the NIST privacy framework as an example, or the ISO 27701 certification standard, it adds a layer of rigor and credibility to your privacy efforts. And think of them as ongoing guardrails that guide your entire team in maintaining a best practice privacy-first culture. So combining these tools, technologies, and continuous frameworks, you can create a robust privacy ecosystem. Of course, the work never stops. It's an ongoing thing. But this ecosystem should be one where data is handled responsibly, where compliance becomes more manageable, and trust with stakeholders is consistently enforced. So this brings us to the end of my presentation. Before we move on to the questions, which I hope are there, let's just quickly recap the key takeaways. I would say that first thing is data privacy complexity is increasing, driven by emerging technologies like the agentic AI and convergent regulations such as GDPR, NIS2, and DORA in EU. Also, third-party risk management is now a continuous endeavor, requiring alignment of privacy, cybersecurity, and operational resilience. Now, of course, if you'd like to dive deeper into any of these topics or explore practical steps to help your organization's privacy posture, contact us to discuss how to fortify your privacy practices, automate compliance tasks, and manage privacy program and manage third-party risks effectively. Now, what I'd like to do is hear from you. What questions you have about the trends we covered? Do you see something else I have missed here? I would love to hear about that, and also the tools we have discussed or the next steps for your privacy program.
Okay, Marian, we have several questions. Okay, so let's start with the first one. I'm trying to keep my organization compliant across multiple jurisdictions like GDPR in the EU or India's DPDP and the various US state laws. How do we manage this growing complexity without constantly playing catch up?
Well, that's a great question. It's actually what I was trying to illustrate, this complexity. And the reality is that regulations are evolving so quickly that the one size fits all approach hardly works. So what I could say as a practical tip is there should be a centralized privacy program. So creating a single compliance framework that references region-specific requirements. This helps avoid duplication of work and ongoing monitoring. So using a dedicated privacy management system to track updates and quickly adjust the processes that can help. And I mean, this is what we do at Legit. We offer this real-time regulatory tracking and automated workflows within the privacy management tool. So our clients don't have to manually monitor every new law and change. So I hope this helps.
Okay, the next one is, how does this platform compare with Microsoft 365 solutions in privacy and compliance, like their dashboard?
Well, always comparing with the big vendors like Microsoft, our competitive advantage always is that we are technology neutral. So what we do is we build integration capabilities to any technology, including the Microsoft 365. For example, being able to scan automatically discover personal data in the Microsoft platform, but then we can do the same for the Google, for Amazon's, for SAP, for any other platform. So being technology independent and neutral always comes with this advantage that we are open to integration with any platform and not being in any way limited by being related to one specific vendor.
Okay, the next one is, data breaches seem to happen almost every week, which really impacts customer trust. How can we show our customers that we take privacy seriously and maintain transparency?
Data breaches seem to happen almost every day, I would say, and unfortunately, they are frequent news. But transparency can be a powerful differentiator. So one thing is to have clear privacy notices and opt-ins, make it easy for customers to see what data you as a company collect and how it's used. You should have a robust and well-documented plan in place when it comes to incident response. I think swift and honest communication post-incident builds credibility. And it's always, of course, helpful when you have a privacy management software which can automate part of this task. So demonstrating to customers that you have rigorous processes for data subject requests, consent tracking, and so on. This can really be helpful.
Okay, ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, with agentic AI on the rise, how do we balance the need for innovation with privacy requirements? What I'm actually worried about is unintentional data misuse while trying to stay competitive.
Well, with this automation, with agentic AIs, this is exactly the risks I have been mentioning. And one thing I said, and it's very important for the privacy professionals, they should be involved in the product teams and project teams from start, especially when choosing training data sets or setting up automated actions. And also using privacy enhancing technologies such as differential privacy and real-time AI monitoring to spot unusual data access or usage patterns. That can also be very helpful.
Okay, next one, regulations like GDPR, NIS2 and DORA all stress third-party risk management. How can we keep up with vendor risk without overwhelming our compliance team?
Well, you should have centralized repository for third parties, contracts, risk scores, and assessments and audits. And there should be continuous monitoring in place, which can be automated. This is one thing we can also help with by replacing annual or periodical checklists with tools that track changes in real time, where you can schedule these assessments. Because I have seen in practice that companies sometimes forget to do the periodic or regular assessment, and they don't really control how data is being handled by the processors. So I think centralizing this and automating the process of the assessment and audits and keeping track of the contracts and how the contracts are enforced within the third parties and the subcontractors as well is the only way to go. And of course, by using software and automation, this can help not to overwhelm the compliance team.
Okay, and the last question is, I see ISO slash IEC 27701 and NIST mentioned a lot. How do I decide which framework is best for my company's data privacy strategy?
So the 27701 is the privacy standard as an addition to the 27001, which is a cybersecurity standard. And the requirements of the standard are stringent, building upon the cybersecurity ones, and they're good. And investing into certification of the company can really help with the privacy program. I do mention NIST a lot, the NIST privacy framework. This is one of the frameworks and global tool for checking the posture of your privacy program. We use it for our state of privacy assessment that we do. It's a good standard. It's a good framework. I mean, the advice that I'm giving is built on some of the globally recognized frameworks. It will really help you structure what you are doing with the privacy program. Because if you try to do everything by yourself, you are missing the opportunities of using the frameworks and standard where a lot of very smart people in the privacy profession have given their bow. So, I mean, I recommend doing the 27701 if your company can afford to invest in it. And besides the NIST framework, there are other frameworks, but we use this one a lot, and I can really recommend it. So it will bring your organizational maturity to a higher level.
Thank you so much, Marian. Thank you so much, Maya, and thank you so much for all of you who have come to join our webinar. It has been great to have you. Unfortunately, we are out of time, but you have all of our contact details should you wish to connect with us and find out more information about any of the topics that we have discussed. Thank you very much and hope to see you again.